Hey, we're going to talk about staggers and how to react to them. My first advice is that you should react to staggers by poking, not by doing standing one, for a few reasons. Most of the staggers that you're going to face are going to be highs, for example. So if you're crouching like that, and then you finally react to a stagger and you get up, and then you press standing one, you might get clipped by the high that your opponent is throwing at you while staggering, which you would simply duck it if you are just poking, right? The high would go above your head and you will poke them. So that's one. Another is that by the time that you react to the stagger, so let's say Baraka is doing this, standing one into standing 1-1. By the time you react, if you are crouching already, and then you're letting go of block, you get up and then you try to get a standing one in, which is going to be like pretty much as fast as your opponent. Your opponent's going to be on minus frames, but like for example -3. That's not a really big disadvantage compared that he knows he's going to stagger, you don't know, you have to react. By the time you get up, you might get hit. So for example, let me show you here. For example, okay, what you want to do is this, right? You see how even though he strikes a second time, so he does one, he strikes a second time, the strike goes above my head because it's a high. So that gives you an advantage there. So take back your turn against highs by just poking. And also, let's say that instead of taking back my turn by poking like this, I take back my turn by getting up like that. That's what I try to do, okay? This is like me on hard read, but let's say I react. This is what happens. Because by the time I react, oh, and I get up, you see? It interrupts me. Simply because I have to take time to get up. Sometimes I'm going to get him, but I've noticed that when it's real tight, especially online, this is a good way to get catched. So when you react, stay down and poke. Alright, so that's one thing. And the reason why it's difficult to react to Baraka standing one is just because of the frames. -3. Frames are real good. Staggers with -2 and under, -2, -1, 0 are amazing. -3 I think is be like the limit. When it comes to -4, it starts to be a little bit more reactable. So this is hard, right? This is hard to react to, and if you're not sure, just keep blocking. Compared to 4-2, right? Okay, the difference between this and this is super easy to see because this is -9. It's so slow, right? This is not like a real stagger, which is why you never see it. So it's easy to react to. So make sure that when you interrupt a stagger, when you try to take back your turn, because at some point, when you get more advanced, that's what people do. That's what, no, that's the game of Mortal Kombat. It's staggering to confuse your opponent and to get your offense going. Just make sure that you don't get opened up because you think that a standing one comes like this, but really he does standing 1-1, right? He does this, he full combos you when you try to interrupt a standing one. So pick your shots carefully. Okay, another thing. Sechuan staggers are based on whiff punishment, right? So what she wants you to do is to actually poke. That is the game plan for her. And I just told you want to poke to interrupt staggers, but you really have to be careful against who you try to do this. My advice when you fight someone who staggers because they want to whiff punish you, exactly like this, on reaction, is to poke with a long range move, right? So Baraka's standing 4 here works. Let's say I time it right. Okay. See, like I would really have to take a big step back with Sechuan to punish this attack. If I do a short range poke like this, I get punished still, right? So you have to do something long. Or if you know that it's a whip punisher that backs up, then that would be a good case to get up and interrupt with a long range move. So make sure that when you fight whip punishers like this, like Sechuan, like Blue Sidebot for example, that you don't want to do down one, which is just, you don't want to do a short range attack, you want to do a long range attack even though it's slower. That is my advice on how to interrupt this. It is characters, but it's also the playstyle of your opponent. Like Koizi does staggers into backup with Melina, which is really interesting and surprising, right? Because Melina technically doesn't have a lot of range, but it'll do like back 1-1, backdash into forward 4, which is a really smart thing to do. But in that case, again, you would take your turn back by poking with down 4 instead of down 1. Okay, but again, it becomes like a bit risky to interrupt with down 4 against opponents that are not with punishers because down 4 is slow, right? And you want to be as fast as you can when you're trying to interrupt with a down 1. So if you're a bit too slow, like here I'm dodging it because it's a high, but let's say I like, okay, oh yeah, she's actually, you know what, let me change it. I'll show you someone with amazing frames to stagger. When you're trying to interrupt Shiva, it's extremely difficult because her staggers are amazing because of her frames. So when she does back 1-2-2, like this, -2, this means that you have to be extremely quick to react before she pokes you. She can either do that, stagger and poke, or she can do the full completion. Now, if you're not sure what's going on, and you're trying to react, and you're like, oh, she's staggering, you're reacting, she stopped. You know that this is coming, right? So you don't want to poke with down 4 because it's too slow. You want to poke with something that's as quick as possible. I'm going to record Shiva staggering and then completing the string. And then I have to react. I'm going to put it on random hidden playback. I have to react to know if this is a stagger or if this is real. See? I tried to react with down 4, and it's so slow that I got punished. Oh, and I guessed wrong. You see what's happening here? So I have to be real quick. Even when I'm real quick with down 1, it's super difficult. Wow. Here you go, I got it this time. But what if I react as quick as possible with down 4? I'm in my animation every single time, but I can't poke her because it's too slow. Down 4 is 10 frames for Sechuan compared to 8 frames down 1. Actually, it's not even a matter of reactions. It's a matter of pure frames here because I'm making the hard read, and I see why I'm getting countered non-stop. The reason is because our down 1 is 7 frames on startup, and this string here, when it ends, it's -2. This means that our startup is actually 9 frames only. This means that it's even faster than my 10 frames on extremely hard read. Like, I'm going as fast as I can. I know this is one read. It doesn't even come out. This means that my only option is this, and it beats it by 1 frame. But on hard reads, like, I should beat this every single time, right? Because it's 1 frame faster. But the point I'm making is that when you're fighting someone, they're staggering, and you know they're not going to whiff punish you, take your turn back with down 1, not down 4. You only take your turn back with down 4 if it's someone that backs away and tries to whiff punish you. That's when you can use your long-ranging normals, your long-ranging poke, to get them before they have time to back up, or when they're trying to come back in. Okay, that's my advice, guys. Interrupt staggers with down 1. Don't interrupt them by getting up. You see what would happen if I'd get up? This is a hard read, and it's dodged because she's crouching, so interrupted with down 1. Oh my god, this is so good. Okay, and interrupted with down 4 when it's a whiff punisher. Alright, like, comment, subscribe, peace.